Are you enjoying the tour so far?
Yes, as we were saying, I'm loving it. It's right by the beginning. This is the fourth gig, and we got still, plenty to go, but it's very, very good for now. We're finding ourselves very good, both for the crowds, amazing for now, and we have already a good relationship with the guys, so it's great.
And your latest album, King, received rave reviews. Did you expect the success?
I mean, we are confident in what we do, of course, and we work very hard on that. But it's always a surprise when it's that good. And in this case, it was, because I'm seeing that everywhere our reviews are great, and we're having a lot of good positions in charts all over the world. And I also know from the sales that it's been really good, so it's very, very good result. We're very happy, and the live reception is great too. So it's amazing.
How was the songwriting process for King?
Our songwriting process is usually comparable to World War III. No, I mean it's always very, very, very. It's beautiful. It's a good part of what we do, but in the meantime, it's extremely stressful for us because we are really the kind of people who, once we start doing something, we cannot just let it go for a second until it's done. So sometimes we really get to a point in which you really need to take like one day far from everything, because you start not being able to recognize from what is okay and what is not. It's not. I think it happens to everybody when talking about writing music, but in our case, having all that stuff going on, the orchestrations and stuff, there's many things to take care of to make the songs properly work. So it's been a very long process, even more than before, I have to say it. But that's also because we got the good and the bad thing about having the good chance to work with also big producer like Jens Bogren is that, of course, we wanted to be prepared to what was anything that could be unexpected, because it's the first time we work with someone different from before. So we were very, very meticulous on many details. But on the other hand, of course, working with someone like him that has also the sensitivity to understand many things that we wanted to express through the music has been really, really good, because it turned out to be obviously something very good. But it was a little stressful just because we were aware of being on time with everything and doing everything better.
And what about the lyrical concept?
King, we always like to go deep into feelings, but in the case of King, it's been a little different in the meaning that it's the first time that we actually get our inspiration from what is happening also around us, and so we wanted to really also talk about what is the relationship between what is surrounding us nowadays in this particular historic moment and what happens inside ourselves. So the King is the representation of that part of ourselves that is still able to recognize what is really, really important in life for ourselves as individuals, in contrast with this incredible amount of information and technology and many things that can really derange us and really bring us very, very far from what is the core of life, that are the very simple things, the feelings, and the simple things of life, that are the ones that in the end really count. Because we feel like today, there's so many things that really literally bring us very far from ourselves. So it is very easy to fall into addictions on many things that we completely don't need and completely lose the point of life. And we really wanted to talk about this part of ourselves that is still there, even if it's covered with many things, that really knows what is important and really knows how to recognize the things that can make us feel good and not get into that, tornado of things. So the king is this part of ourselves, and all the other characters that are described through the songs of the album represent the many ways in which, on the other hand, the world that is surrounding us today really tries in different ways to tear us down and someday kind of, I don't want to say enslave us, but it looks like there's a sort of idea of making people think as less as possible, and we don't want that. So it's important to remember.
In terms of music style, there is a great classical influence. Did you have a particular inspiration for the classical music?
Yeah, of course. First of all, we come from Italy, so as you know, we have a very big history in classical music. In Fleshgod Apocalypse music, classical music has always been there as an element that is always very present beside the more metal part of the music. Even if in the beginning it was maybe a little bit more raw and it developed through time, and now in King probably you can get more of these elements. But we've always had this focus of combining two things. In the case of King, I would say that we have our inspirations. We really like Paganini, we really like Rossini, we like Mahler, we like Mozart, Beethoven, the very famous one, but also some more underground things. But I would say that especially in this case, for Richard Dart's King, there's much more of romanticism compared to what we did before that was more maybe based on the classical period. And also, I think that there's also some modern stuff in what we do, because we also get a lot of inspiration from songwriters that actually are alive today, especially also some of them are also involved into the movies, songwriting, like I don't know, of course John Williams, we like a lot, Hans Zimmer, that is working with Christopher Nolan in many movies, and I think there's, listening back to our music in King, there's a lot of him too. So we combine the two things. It's orchestral, but there's both classical elements and modern.
And you recently filmed a video live in your own town. So will you release that?
Yeah, we're working on the post-production. It will take time, of course, because it's pretty complex, but yeah. It was one of the very first gigs that we played during the tour in Italy that we recently did right before this. And yeah, we're working on the post-production for that.
You could say which song?
I still can't.
Okay,
I know, I'm sorry. Maybe I will tell you after.
Okay.
But I cannot reveal it for now.
And what do you think of the metal scene in Italy?
In this moment, honestly, it's difficult. From our last experience, I have to say it's difficult. I mean, there's very good musicians. There's people who has the numbers to do it. But the problem with the scene is that I really think that, what do you call a scene? A scene is a situation in which in a certain place, it can be a city or an area of the country, there are musicians, of course, that do music, but there's especially the will to to influence each other without any bad feelings towards each other, but just with the curiosity to grow up and to do new things. And you also need places that support this kind of thing. And I think that this sort of infrastructure that would allow this to happen, for some reason, is not there. we're missing the scene in the trimming of the world. The fact that there are places that are interested into developing that kind of music and that ask musicians to play there and to influence each other. And I really think that is also up to the musicians, because unfortunately, I really believe that if you compare, like I live in my town, for example. Why so many things come out from a place like, I don't know, Los Angeles, and it's not the same where we live. I really think that one reason is because the fact that we are not used to the idea that many good things can come out of where we live really instill into people the mentality that it's impossible to come out from what we have. And this brings most of the times people to act like, okay, it's impossible, so we don't believe it. So whenever there is someone who do good things, the first thing that people try to think is there has to be some cheating behind, instead of saying, wow, this is beautiful, instead of listening and just understanding what's going on and trying to get inspiration and to see, okay, why this is working. If this is working, I can do something my own that works. I think that's the only way you do it. The good thing is that now with technology and the YouTube area, it's really changed, because there's many musicians that are getting really good in Italy, because they can compare themselves to the whole world, not just to really. But in the meantime, there's still something missing to make it start in the trimming of the world.
And this what made you decide to become a musician?
I think that there's many people that, even in this situation, and maybe even more, they have this feeling that they want to do something with the band. And I think that always comes from the music itself, from the art itself, from the fact that you're inspired by something that is amazing. But then to take this and make it become something like, okay, you have a band that tour the whole world and you do certain things, that is really the fact that you need to meet the right people that has the same mentality, the same dream, and the same will to sacrifice a lot of your life, your personal life, unfortunately, but it's part of the game, to make that thing happen. So I think that in my case, it was just the music itself. The fact that I always loved music, that my parents made me love music, and that I really felt like, okay, every time I am on a stage, there's a channel through which I can express things that I cannot express in any other way anywhere else. So when you have that, it's already a good start.
What are your plans for the future of Fleshgod Apocalypse?
The best wishes are, to keep growing like this, to keep doing what we like to do, to keep being faithful to ourselves, and to keep being, true to each other, because this is the main thing in Fleshgod Apocalypse. I think, and I think that a lot of people get this, and I think it's a big part of our success. The fact that we are really true to each other. We are, first of all, a group of friends before being a group of musicians. And this makes things sometimes harder, because you need to take care of many little personal things that you don't take care of when you're just working with someone else. But this is what makes that energy be on stage every time we jump on stage. So that's the most important thing. I really wish to myself that we can keep this love going on.
And good luck with everything, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you.